Hi everyone, welcome to the second chapter of my Rishikesh Travelogue, where the Ganga river flows like time itself and every step carries a whisper of the sacredness. Today, I take you through silence, not just any silence, but the kind that lingers in the ruins of a dream once shared by the most famous music band in the world. This is the Beatles Ashram, abandoned yet alive in spirit. Once a sanctuary for spiritual seekers, now a forgotten temple where music, meditation, and nature dissolve into one. In this walk, we will explore the crumbling meditation caves, graffiti stained prayer halls, and listen to the echoes that remain where words once fell away. Expect no crowds, no noise, no rush, only your presence. Let this be not just a walk, but an inward journey into yourself. Let the silence speak. In February 1968, the Beatles came to Rishikesh, drawn by the call of inner peace and the teachings of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. They stayed at this very ashram, the Chaurasi Kutiya, immersing themselves in transcendental meditation. In just a few weeks, they wrote over 40 songs, many of which shaped the iconic White Album. But beneath the stillness, tensions stirred, rumors, misunderstandings, and sudden departures followed. What began as a spiritual journey became a moment of global intrigue. We will uncover more about this later, but for now, let's return to what remains. These are the meditation caves of Chaurasi Kutiya, 84 dome-shaped structures built to cradle silence. Constructed between 1976 and 1978, they were meant to house sannyasis and brahmacharis as they immersed themselves in deep sadhana, a spiritual practice beyond any worldly distraction. Each hut is sculpted with round stones handpicked from the very banks of the river Ganga, as if the river herself had offered a piece of her soul to this sacred ground. On a fading stone wall, amidst all that was abandoned, I saw a burst of yellow graffiti. It stood bold, bright, and defiantly alike, like a memory refusing to fade out. Now abandoned, they rest in stillness. But the silence here is not empty. It breathes. It remembers. In these quiet cells, seekers once dissolved their identities, and perhaps the Beatles too might found glimpse of something beyond fame. Every crevice whispers a story. Every silence is an invitation to listen deeper. From the stillness of the ashram, I looked outside, and there she was, Ma Ganga, flowing endlessly through Rishikesh, wrapping the city in quiet grace. Below, the world hums with life, but from here it feels distant, softened by time and altitude. It is as if the river carries not just water, but centuries of prayers, whispered hopes, and the hush of seekers who once walked this very path. At the highest point of the ashram stands the residence of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, built in the late 1960s, overlooking the forest and the sacred flow of Ganga. This location was chosen with an intention. From here, throughout the year, one can hear the soft, ceaseless sounds of the river, a presence more constant than the time itself. To stay here was to live in communion with the nature's rhythm, where the river becomes a mantra and silence a teacher. Once you walk inside this abandoned residence, stories bloom in color on these fading walls. The walls of the Maharshi's residence are alive with artworks, faded yet vibrant, spontaneous yet sacred. Deities, musicians, and mystics emerge from these paintings like fragments of forgotten dreams. These murals feel less like decoration and more like offerings, moments when brush met belief and the soul found form. Each brushstroke here feels like a prayer offered by unknown hands, bridging devotion and creativity, east and west, silence and song. Even in decay, these walls speak. They remind us that where there is art, the spirit never truly leaves. Though the Beatles' departure drew the world's gaze away, the ashram continued quietly for years under Maharshi's spiritual vision. But as time passed and the movement shifted abroad, the ashram gradually fell into silence. By the early 2000s, it was left abandoned and now embraced by the Rajaji Tiger Reserve and cared for by the forest department. As the forest slowly reclaims what was once a sanctuary of sound and stillness. In this vast meditation hall, echoes of the past still linger. The silence here once held the sound of four young men, the Beatles. The Beatles arrived in Rishikesh in 1968 not as global icons but as seekers, drawn by the promise of transcendental meditation. For a few luminous weeks, this ashram became their sanctuary.
Where nothing is permanent and everything is changing.
They meditated, wrote over 40 songs, and slipped, if only briefly, beneath the weight of fame. Their time here reshaped not just their music but how the West viewed the East. The Beatles' stay, though transformative, ended abruptly. Rumors of misunderstandings and allegations, mostly unproven, cast a shadow over their departure. The truth remains blurred like a dream half remembered, but what endures is the imprint they left on this place and what this place left on them. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi left this ashram behind, but not the moment he sparked. His teachings on meditation rippled far beyond Rishikesh, reaching millions across the world. Though the walls crumble and the halls grow quiet, the silence he revered still lingers in the stones and in the forests around. If this journey through the silence and stories of the Beatles Ashram moved you, do like, share, and subscribe for more such soulful explorations. And if you have thoughts or questions, the comment section is your space to speak. Thanks for viewing. Bye bye.